9th of April 1861, a man walking the towpath of the Rochdale Canal came across the body of a young woman floating in Lock Bridge, Oldham Road. He called the police. Superintendent Pickering arrived and found in the woman's pocket a sodden note bearing the address Moston Buildings, Harper Hay. So he went around this immediate area knocking on the doors, and he came to 14 Milkstone Road. A man came to the door and just said simply, "It's my wife, isn't it?" He was, he said, Joseph Garside. His wife Ellen had disappeared for 5 months with their daughter, come back briefly, and disappeared again just a week ago. "Didn't you look for her?" asked Superintendent Pickering. "Well, she was always having affairs," replied Garside. "My best mate, John Warburton, said he saw her in Manchester." Garside's daughter, who was stood in front of him, said, "That's right. Mummy and I lived with a man called Mr. Roberts in Harper Hay in Manchester." So Superintendent Pickering went to Moston Buildings, Harper Hay, as per the note in the dead woman's pocket, and interviewed the landlady, Mrs. Parkinson. And she confirmed that Ellen Garside had lived there as man and wife with a man called Mr. Roberts. And this Mr. Roberts worked in Clegg's stonemason's yard in Rochdale. So Superintendent Pickering went back to Rochdale with Mrs. Parkinson. They went to Clegg's stonemason's yard, and Mrs. Parkinson walked up to a man, tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hello, Mr. Roberts." The man turned round. It was Joseph Garside's best friend, John Warburton. So Warburton was arrested, put on trial in Manchester for willful murder. At the trial, Fort Bargees testified that on the 2nd of April 1861, above the sound of the water rippling on the canal, they heard a woman scream, 2 loud splashes, and a man shout, "Help! Murder!" They managed to haul a man from the canal, but he was on his own, and he swore that there was no woman with him. That man was John Warburton. So the prosecution alleged that Warburton had pushed Ellen Garside into the canal, missed his footing and fallen in after him. The judge, however, dismissed the case, saying that all the evidence was circumstantial. So John Warburton walked away a free man. Did he get away with murder, or did someone else? Why would John Warburton have shouted, "Help murder," as he went into the canal? Surely not to draw attention to his own activities. Did Joseph Garside follow the lovers to the canal and push them both in as an act of revenge? Had the worm finally turned?